Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce members of the board and the staff who are present here. To my immediate right is Larry Decker, clerk of the Licensing Authority. To his right is Nancy Carlson-Lidman, associate member. To his right is Jessica Silva, associate member. And at the end is Associate Member John Murphy. To my left is Erin Logan, who is the Director of Licensing, and to my far left is Chris Kelsey, who is the assigned officer as liaison to the Licensing Authority from the Barnstable Police Department. Before we begin, I'm going to have to ask that we vote in one of our associate members as the third member of today's hearing so that we have the appropriate quorum. So, Mr. Decker, could I have that motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint Nancy Carlson-Lidman as a voting active member for today's meeting.
And I'll second that. Is there any discussion? There isn't any, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Nancy, you're a full voting member for today's meeting. Next is an announcement that this meeting of the Barnstable Licensing Authority is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Is anyone recording the meeting? Not seeing anyone. I'll move right on to public comment. Before we get into specific items on the agenda, is anyone here to make a public comment on any particular issue? Okay, not seeing anyone. We'll go to the approval of the minutes. There aren't any minutes to approve. We will look at those at the upcoming April meeting. So we're going to move right into new applications. There are three new special one-day wine and malt and special one-day entertainment licenses being applied for. Three applications have been filed by Cape Gunworks at 96 Airport Road, Hyannis, for three special one-day licenses. The first is a 9th anniversary event held to be held in their retail showroom from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on April 12th of 2025, where they want to serve beer and wine. The second one is a Veterans Top Shot fundraiser held in the retail showroom from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on May 16th, 2025, where once again they want to serve beer and wine as well as have some entertainment. Doesn't tell us what kind of entertainment, so that will be a question. And finally, Cape Gunworks' birthday. They want to celebrate Cape Gunworks' 11th birthday held in their retail showroom from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on July 12th, 2025, on beer and serving beer and wine. Is there anyone here from Cape Gunworks to speak to this? If you would come up and give us an overview of what the plan is and go from there. Thank you. Introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Good morning, Toby Leary. I'm co-owner at Cape Gunworks, and I can speak to any of those specific questions, but one point of clarity is the entertainment license is probably unlikely to happen. I just threw it in there for the sake of sometimes a band wants to come play live at the Top Shot Invitational event that we host annually, and so that may or may not happen. If it does, it'll probably be a guy, a guitar, and a couple of like a three-man band that plays in the showroom. Yeah. So that may or may not happen, but just to clarify that.
So the first one is a 9th anniversary event, folks just coming in and out.
Yeah, the first one, I'm not officially withdrawing it because it's so late, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to have that event. We had some plans change, and so we're not going to be serving beer and wine at that event. Even if you approve the license, that's just not going to happen on this particular occasion. So we're really just looking for approval on the Veterans Top Shot and then the one this summer.
So A is, we're going to remove that?
Yeah.
That's not
Yep.
happening?
It's
Okay.
not happening.
Okay. And the Veterans Top Shot is May 16th, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Could you tell us what that is?
Yeah, the Veterans Top Shot is an annual charity that we started some time ago with a couple other partners, broadcasting and as well as some other, key players that we've hosted now a two-part tournament that is on the day that we're asking for the license on is a shooting tournament that we host, and once it wraps up, then we'll be serving some refreshments and beer and wine should you approve this. And then it's very similar to like the golf tournament, which happens the next day. Afterwards, everybody, but the good news about the Veterans Top Shot is it's already a very highly controlled atmosphere and regulated atmosphere. There's, it's really easy just to add this after the fact. So it's only for a limited time after the shooting part is done, and everyone will be given a wristband so we know when they're done shooting, they can now partake in a beer or two. So that's really it. We're partnering with Luke's Liquors on that. They have tip certified servers, and they're going to be the ones, with pouring. So
And you're not having entertainment?
no, I think it's unlikely at this point. We would probably, we already have an entertainment license for audio broadcast throughout the facility, so we might just play sometimes one of the radio stations will play one of their channels live while we're.
Okay. And then on the 12th, it's 11 years you've been there already?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing. Well, not in that location. That's
okay.
that's the confusion of the two. Like our birthday and our anniversary are two different things. The one in April is when we opened in the new location.
Okay, so that's 9.
It's actually 8.
9
I
years.
fat fingered the keyboard on that. So
Okay.
it's 8th. It's our 8th annual. It's 9 since we bought the building, but 8th since we opened the doors, and then 11 years since we opened
That
back
used to
on
be
Barnstable.
used to be the paintball
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, does anyone on the dais have a question? Any of the members of the authority?
Mr. Chairman, with the removal of item A, I move to approve the applications for Cape Gunworks.
Okay, before we do that, I want to ask Captain Lenman, I think he has a couple of questions, if you'd come up from the fire department.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I might be able to clarify some of the stuff, and then the captain might be able to.
Go for it.
All right. One of the concerns that was discussed was the entertainment license, and I hear that you're saying that that's probably not going to take place. I guess just so that there's no confusion on that piece of the ask, I would say either remove it completely and go with what you already have that you're licensed for, or identify what the entertainment's going to be, because I wouldn't want this authority to approve an entertainment license saying, oh, it might be a guitar player or it might be a 6-piece band.
No, my intent was not to approve it
right.
unless we knew specifically what it was.
Yeah,
It was
I mean, or
Kelsey
there
told
might
me.
be dancing or there might not be dancing, and I think that's
No, it's
some of
either
the.
in or it's out.
Yeah, and that was some of the conversation that we had with the live entertainment. What kind of live entertainment? Is there going to be dancing? Does there need to be a crowd manager? That type of thing. So that's what the concerns were.
Okay, duly noted. Captain?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning.
Officer Kelsey pretty much covered it.
Oh.
Part of the things. I also had a conversation with Mr. Leary prior to today's meeting, just to get some clarification on what was on the application.
Is your microphone on? The green button needs to be on.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, could you repeat
Okay.
that so? for the sake
Captain
of our
Landon,
audience
Hyannis,
who's watching?
Fire Prevention. Mr. Chairman, spoke with Officer Kelsey and Mr. Leary prior to today's meeting, just to get some clarification on the scope of the event, and we're satisfied with the answers we got regarding all this. Thank
Great.
you.
Okay. Any other questions, issues of concern?
Yes, so with that particular item, do we just withdraw the entertainment portion of that request?
Correct.
Fine by me.
And if you decide that you want entertainment, you would need to come back in front of us for approval.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and if in the future we, do secure a band to come play, we'll make it very specific. I didn't know it had to be that specific, and I can assure you that no dancing will take place at Cape Gunworks, strictly forbidden. No, I'm
And
just
we
kidding.
do have, Toby, we do have a meeting coming up in April. If you did want to bring it back for
Okay.
entertainment, you'd have to go
Fair
through Aaron.
Yep.
Okay,
And I think,
staff comments?
yeah, and I think, Larry, you can make a motion to approve excluding the
entertainment.
entertainment.
Yes.
Right.
With regard, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the application for Cape Cod Gun Works, we request the withdrawal of item A of the three items listed, and also the entertainment portion of item B. I would otherwise approve the application for Cape Gun Works, 96 Airport Road, Hyannis, for two of the one-day licenses as submitted.
And is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any other discussion, comments, commentary? Not hearing any, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Toby, good luck, and hope it's successful. Okay, this is an application for a new special one-day entertainment license. It's an application filed by Pop-Up Street Cape Cod, located at 438 Main Street, Hyannis, to host Reggae Rhythms Pop-Up, a celebration of Black and Caribbean creatives with an artist showcase. The entertainment will include non-amplified live performances as well as background music. Is there anyone here from that group that can speak to this?
Chair, I am not
Seeing any
seeing
staff
the
comments?
applicant present. I would recommend just pushing this off to the end of the agenda, and hopefully the applicant would appear.
Okay, we can do that. So we will move item number 2 to the end. Okay, it'll take us to item number 3, which is to amend an annual wine and malt license and a change of manager. This is filed by Crisp Flatbread, doing business as Crisp Flatbread, located at 791 Main Street, Osterville, to amend the alcohol license manager from James C. Supka to Ryan Patrick Tremblett. Staff comments? Is there anyone else? Is Mr. Tremblett here? Would you come up and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and your background and experience?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ryan Patrick Tremblett. I've been working at Crisp for, I think this will be like my 9th summer going on. Started bartending, then became an assistant manager, now became the general manager. So James Supka is still there. He's one of our owners, but he's kind of just taken a little bit of a back seat. So.
Okay. Any questions from anyone on the authority? Aaron, any, Chris, nothing? Okay.
So with regard to the changing category,
Yeah, so the
does he need to
change,
come back and, someone need to come back in front of us?
the change of category was my error. It will be coming to the April
Gotcha.
meeting. And because it's a change of category, this particular business doesn't have a history of problems. I have basically allowed them to waive their right to appear
Oh,
at
okay.
the next meeting.
Okay.
And just for that, I mean, we're not trying to do any free pouring, anything like that. We're more or less just trying to add the ready-to-drink side of it to it, like the vodka-based cocktails and different things like that. But we never want to be a place that's pouring shots and doing free pour stuff like that, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application to amend the annual wine and malt license for Chris Flatbread, Inc., 791 Main Street, Osterville, for a change of manager from James C. Supka to Ryan Patrick Tremblett as submitted.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second, please?
I second.
Okay, any other discussion, further questions, issues? None? Not hearing any, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a vote. Good luck. Okay, item number 4, amend the annual all alcohol license. This is to add outdoor dining and amend hours of operation regarding an application filed by 235 Ocean Partners LLC, doing business as The Break Restaurant and Bar, located at 235 Ocean Street, Hyannis, to add 24 outdoor seats and amending their hours of operation to allow for breakfast service. Proposed operating hours are daily from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Proposed alcohol service hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. So could you introduce who you are and what the plan is here? And I'm sure we have some questions.
Sure. I'm Adrian Prishlak. I'm co-owner of The Break. And
Is
we are.
that microphone on? Is the
I
green
believe,
light on?
yes, it is.
Thank you.
We are tenants at 235 Ocean. Just to clear up, we're not the owners of the property, we are tenants.
Okay. So you lease from the Newport Group?
Correct.
Okay.
And those outdoor seats come into play because that's going to be on their property. So it's the patio that is next door to the restaurant.
Okay.
But so we're undergoing a building permit right now that is basically combining their patio with our staircase. So the plan is to extend the patio as it's currently constructed, so same materials, everything is going to look exactly the same. They're going to extend it out 10 feet and build our staircase into it. And so that patio is going to come down there's going to be stairs coming down from the patio to the street. So a new sort of entrance. That's a separate application, I guess, that my business partner is leading up. So that's through the building department.
That hasn't been approved yet?
I don't think it's been approved.
Okay. It's in process?
It's in process.
Okay.
It's like some kind of clerical issue.
All right, well, I'm sure we have some questions. I'll look to my staff members first. Erin, any comments? Thing you want to raise? And then Chris?
No, I think we were just discussing that patio. I understand that as it is now, the break is on property for the harbor.
It's all owned by the same
Right.
ownership.
Right.
So they're architects, and they are doing the surveying and all that through their connections. And so that is, it's kind of funny because my business partner is Adam Hostetter. He's a builder. So he's actually doing the work.
Okay.
So we're tenants, we're doing the work, or at least making sure that the work gets done properly. But the owners of the property are the ones who are doing the work technically
Okay.
to combine the two properties.
I would recommend, since you're already on the same plot of land from an assessing standpoint,
What is two lots?
right,
I think that's the issue.
but the same property owner, right?
Yep.
So are you going to be encroaching on the abutting property? I guess my concern here is that alcohol leaving your premises and going next door to the Blue Water Grill or to
Right.
the, are folks going to be coming down from the inn, grabbing a beer from you and sitting on the other side?
I think that's what
I
they
think
want to
signage-
accomplish. 'cause-
Signage is going to be important because
Yes.
that can't happen. We can't bring alcohol from your establishment over to the neighbor, if you will.
Even though the neighbor owns both properties?
He doesn't have the liquor license. He just is the owner of the property. So that license is particular to your premises. So I can see a world where the outdoor area is licensed under you with proper signage that it can't leave. But that alcohol can't leave
That's fine by
your
us.
premises and go next door to the Harbor Inn.
Gotcha.
And how will you safeguard against that?
Well, there is a lobby area, that's inside of where the patio is. And so there's doors, so we can put signage on the doors, just saying no alcohol beyond this point. Obviously, same with the street, that's kind of understood, that you can't leave a property and hit the public street. But we could have signs there too.
And I think, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we have the Blue Water Grill later on the agenda, and they are requesting to amend from a common victular to an inn holder, which then would allow their alcohol beverages to be brought to the rooms, if you will. So we can't have a double dipping situation. I just want to make sure that it's clear if you're going to use that outdoor patio, that it's specific for the use of the break, and that it's properly signaged.
So we're clear on
So
that.
folks don't
We know the
leave
expectation.
that area.
Officer
Yeah, if
Kelsey,
we-
did you
if
want
we-
to add anything?
I think if we get this approval, that's going to be how we operate until if the owners want to change it somehow through legal channels, then we can go that route. But for now, that's the way it's going to be.
Officer Kelsey?
So what I'm hearing is that this actually isn't even approved by the building department yet.
It is not, although they've been in close communication. There's like some minor issue with a site plan, as I understand it.
All right, so I'm actually confused listening to what you're saying right now. And if it's not approved by the building department and it's not been signed off by site plan, my recommendation would be to hold this off until we get those approvals.
I agree.
That's where I was going with this. Is there anyone from the
I agree.
authority?
I think you should.
This is confusing to me.
Yeah, there's too many unknowns and variables for us to legitimately approve this morning. Not that we don't want to, but we have to make sure that the Ts are crossed, the Is are dotted relative to what's coming out of the
Yeah,
building.
and that's
the
not
construction.
surprising. I think when we submitted for this meeting, I think everyone thought that it was going to be a pretty easy thing and didn't realize that we didn't have a particular drawing that the town really wants to see, which I believe now have, but again, it's late. So that's not a problem. Is it still possible to get the change of operating hours?
We can take that into consideration. How do folks feel about that?
Well, it'd be easier
Do it all
if we
at
just
once.
did
Do it once.
it all over at one time.
Okay. So we're going to hold this and ask you to come back either at the April meeting or at the May meeting. Well, what is your expected date to open up the operation? Do you have a target?
Well, I mean, we're open, so it's just expanding. We'd like to be open for breakfast definitely by May 1st.
Okay.
So the April
So
meeting,
we'll
I
get
think,
you
would
back on the
suffice.
agenda for the April meeting, and hopefully everything will be in order, and we can have another discussion and move this forward.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
I just need a motion to continue, please, to the April 23rd.
I was going to ask, so if I could have a motion for continuance?
Mr. Chairman, I move for the proposal for the request for by 235 Ocean Partners LLC DBA, the Break Barn Restaurant, I move that we move the request back to the April meeting.
Okay, and is there a second?
I second.
Any other discussion? Not hearing any, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. We'll see you in April. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to do the pop-up street Cape Cod after we do these public hearings, I assume. Okay, we'll give that person more time. All right, so we're going to enter into the public hearing section where there will be public comment on each of these issues if anyone so desires. The first one is a new Class 1 auto dealer license. It's an application that's been filed by Motor World Power Sports Corporation, doing business as Motor World Power Sports, located at 609 I&O Road, Hyannis, for a new Class 1 auto dealer license, sales of new golf carts, jet skis, and other motorized vehicles. Total of 42 spaces, 1 handicapped accessible, 2 customer to employee, and 37 display spaces is being requested. Proposed hours of operation will be daily from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Repairs of any inventory will take place at another location, Motor World Power Sports, located at 59 Main Street in Kingston, Mass. First and foremost, any comments from staff? First of all, is anyone here from, could you come up? Introduce yourself and tell us what it is in simple terms, what it is you're going to do.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Coward. I'm the owner of Motor World Power Sports Corporation. We are established at 56 Main Street in Kingston, Massachusetts, which is our closest location to here in Hyannis. We're looking to open and expand another retail location here in Hyannis, as well as we have other locations across New England. What exactly we do is we primarily focus on the retail sales of golf carts and LSVs. What LSV stands for is low-speed vehicles. We currently do a lot of business in the local area of the Cape, but we want to come closer to our customers to make it easier for them to come check out our new inventory.
Got it.
For all these different items of inventory that you sell, how are they removed from your property?
How are they transported from our property to the customer's location?
Yes.
Yeah, trailers.
So whose the responsibility? Is it yours or is it at the customer who buys an item?
We deliver the items.
You deliver, okay.
Got it. Any comments from staff? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this? Not seeing anybody, we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the Class 1 auto dealer application for Motor World Power Sports Corp., 609 INO Road, Hyannis, as submitted.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is a vote. Good luck and wish you success.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Okay, item number 2 under public hearings. This is a new annual common victualler license. The applicant has requested to withdraw without prejudice, so we'll move right on to,
Can I just take a motion
I
on
guess we
that,
have to make
please?
a motion to remove this. Okay, so this was a application that had been filed by the Pineapple Caper doing business as the Nest on West Bay Road in Barnstable for a new license, which they're asking to be withdrawn, so we'll need a motion to do that.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant, Pineapple Caper LLC, DBA The Nest, 15 West Bay Road, Osterville, has submitted a request to withdraw the application. I move that we postpone this as requested.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and this is a public hearing. I was remiss in not asking, is there anyone from the public that wants to speak to this before we vote? Not seeing or hearing anyone, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of
Aye.
approving this
Aye.
signify by aye. Aye, okay. We can move right along then to item number 3, which is a new annual non-live entertainment license. It's an application that's been filed by Amelia, Inc., doing business as Amelia Taqueria and Bar, located at 477 Yarmouth Road in Hyannis, for a non-live entertainment license, non-live entertainment to include 3 TVs and recorded music below conversation level during normal operating hours. And you're here to introduce yourself and tell us what it is you're doing. You were just here not too long ago.
Yeah, it was just last month. My name's Ilya Sopanjewski. I'm the co-owner of Amelia Taqueria and Bar. My wife, Maria, regrets she's not here today. She has some other obligations she has to do. We're appealing today for non-entertainment license for television and recorded audio, just to entertain our patrons a little bit. Just something other than the great food that we've been serving. It's been a real great success. Aaron, great to meet you finally. Yeah, that sums it up. We're going to have 3 TVs.
Any questions from staff or any questions from anyone? Once again, it's a public hearing. Anyone in the public have any questions, issues, concerns? Not seeing any or hearing any. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the daily non-live entertainment application for Amelia Inc., DBA Amelia Taqueria and Bar, 477 Yarmouth Road, Hyannis, as submitted.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's a vote. Good luck.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next is a new annual live entertainment license. This is an application that's been filed by Bread and Roses Bookshop and Cafe, doing business as Bread and Roses, located at 302 Main Street in Hyannis, for a live entertainment license to include 1 amplified performer, and the proposed hours of entertainment are Thursdays through Sundays from 11 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. in the evening. And we have someone here from Bread and Roses to introduce himself and tell us what it is you're doing.
Good morning, guys. My name is Tiago do Carmo. I came here last month. I'm just trying to go back to whatever was performed before with Nathan. so we're just gonna keep as the same. We're gonna try to keep the same local musicians. As a musicians, I really appreciate, having a breakfast or a dinner with a little low music. We're not gonna. I took over for now the amplifiers, and I apply everything to the ceiling so it can be low, so we don't have anything like too crazy, because we're not trying to make everybody deaf or anything. So we just want to play, like a jazz, blues, bossa nova, and MPB kind of songs, so people can eat and enjoy a live music.
No pulsating breakfast music? Okay. Any comments from staff? Officer Kelsey, any issues? Anyone from the authority?
This is just one performer?
One performer, yes.
Just one, okay. And was it necessary for the neighbors to be notified of
The
this?
neighbors were notified via a legal ad and mailing of abutter notices. I think the only difference here is Bread and Roses previously closed at 5, so there is an evening component. But other than that, it does match what the prior proprietor had.
Okay, and this is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to make a comment? Not seeing anybody, we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the daily live entertainment application for Bread and Roses Bookshop and Cafe, Inc., DBA Bread and Roses, 302 Main Street, Hyannis, as submitted.
Okay, and a second, please.
I second.
Okay, motion's been made. Second, any other discussion, comments? Not hearing or seeing any, we will take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is a vote. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Hope it works out well for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next item on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is to amend the annual Section 12 all alcohol common victualler license regarding an alteration of licensed premises, change of the DBA, and change of hours, and amending live and daily non-live entertainment license as follows. An application has been filed by Smith Family Beer Garden. It's an LLC doing business as Smith Family Beer Garden, located at 541 Main Street here in Hyannis, for an alteration of licensed premises, a change of doing business as a DBA from Smith Family Beer Garden to Neptune's, and a change of hours from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. daily to 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily. In addition, there's alteration of the licensed premises to include interior expansion, installation of sprinkler and fire alarm systems, supporting the increase of the interior capacity from 201, it's a big jump, to 596. The applicant also proposes increasing the live amplified performance from 3 to 5, adding a pool table for a new total of 2, and adding 4 TVs for a new total of 8, with a proposed extension of entertainment hours until 1 a.m. Okay, there's a lot in this application to review and discuss, so if you'd introduce yourself and give us the overview, and then I'm sure we'll have some questions.
Sure. I'm Dan Smith. I'm the owner of Smith Family Beer Garden. So I think it's easy to, there's a lot of bullet points in this, on all these changes, so I wanted to kind of break it into like a twofold attack here. So the first one is what's being labeled as the exterior or interior expansion. This is really just to get us current to what is on the health department, the building department. So last year we increased our grease trap to a 3,500-pound grease trap, and that gave us more seats, mostly outside. The number of seats inside didn't change. So when I went through all that, protocol with the site plan review and everything, I forgot to come here and update you guys to it. So when I went to renew my license, I said, Aaron, my description of premises is not what it is. And we kind of went back and forth because this whole project has just been like a series of phases. So I said, oh my God, I just totally whiffed and forgot to update the ABCC of those changes of just the seating. So the changes, the interior changes that happened this past spring were the increase in seats to 185, and then we moved our bar into a different area of the building. So that's that. That's just to get us current with what the rest of the town departments have on file. Second change that's bullet pointed here is our change from Smith Family Beer Garden to Neptune's. When we first opened, we were just the open space next to Smith Family Popcorn. I also own Smith Family Popcorn, so I thought, hey, this will be kind of a nice like sister business to the popcorn shop. And people kind of know us as the popcorn shop, and hey, I can also grab a beer and chill outside. So now that we've expanded inside, and we talk to our customers all the time, and a lot of people passing down the road are like, I'm not going to go in. They don't have a full bar, or hey, what kind of beer do you guys brew? We don't brew any beer. And then on top of it, a lot of people think that we're just outside, so that kind of hurts our off-season business. People think we're not open at night and things like that. So, after a couple years of running a Smith Family Beer Garden, we've kind of like, all right, maybe we can make a little more of an ambiguous kind of umbrella name. We have a giant statue of Neptune sitting in our courtyard. So, hey, maybe that kind of works, and it's more of an overall kind of name for us. So that isn't too specific on, too literal on what we are. So that's the reason for that change. So the next proposal is we're in the process of trying to install a sprinkler system and a fire alarm system. And the reason for that is we've been going back with the town, the building department and the fire department. Since we've opened, we haven't been able to do live entertainment inside, which, offers, it's great, we can have music outside, and that's great to draw people in, but it offers other problems where, if I could pay for a band and it downpours that night, and I have no way of bringing them inside or anything, it's just a complete loss for me. The other thing that hurts us is, just off season. As soon as the weather turns, like we've tried to push the season as much as possible, get really good bands, and it'd be like 45 degrees outside. And some people come, but it's harder than if we could have just had them inside. So I think this change also gonna gets us a lot more year-round business. So to do the live entertainment inside, we need to install the sprinkler system and the fire alarm system. The change in occupant load. So right now we are listed as an A2 restaurant, bar / nightclub is what our current listing is, and that's not going to change. But on our certificate of occupancy, it says no nightclub activities because we don't have a sprinkler system or a fire alarm system. And that occupant load is determined by its 15 square feet per person. So we have around 3,000 square feet inside of our space. So that gives us around the 201 people that we currently are at. With the sprinkler system and the fire alarm system, that then bumps us into a different category in the building code. So that puts us at 5 square feet per person. So again, with 3,000 square feet of inside space, that puts us almost to 600 people inside. And that's determined by obviously the square footage, the net square footage of the space that we have, and then the number of exits and where those exits are located. So I'm happy to go into that more if you want. Let's see, the other changes were for the live entertainment, again, just being able to bring it inside, and because we're able to bring it inside, our hope is that we've had kind of differences with our neighbor in the back. Our hope is that doing these changes is that outside we can do a single, a duo, do from like 6 to 9, and before we've been doing 7 to 10. And the issue seems to have come up like right around that 10 o'clock mark is where our neighbor would kind of say, hey, it's getting a little loud and things like that. So our our plan is to kind of go down to like a 6:30 to 9:30, smaller acts outside, and then like a 9:30 to 12:30, band inside and things like that. So the hope to, cut down on like outdoor noise at that point. I'm trying to think. I'll shut up for a sec. The other thing is, it's already a requirement of ours to everyone on our staff is crowd manager certified, and obviously tip certified too. So, like I said, I'll shut up and answer whatever
Okay,
questions.
I'll begin with members of the authority. Any questions, any concerns? Mr. Decker?
So the fire and sprinkler has already been done and approved?
No, so we're in the process of going through that building permit. I've signed up for site plan review a couple times. I've been told it's not needed to install a sprinkler system a couple times. So, I've had conversations with Tim and Mike, and if they want to, have anything to say to you too. So I've already had conversations with them a couple times, with the building department a couple times. We've spoke with Jim, the town planner, spoke with Officer Kelsey here, trying to just talk to as many of the departments as we possibly can, just to make sure that we're on the same page with everybody before we kind of jump into this.
Now, you've also gone from 3 to 5 entertainers. That's inside,
Yeah.
and you're still retaining outside entertainers also, right?
Yep.
What's the maximum on that?
The maximum on that can stay at 3. Our stage is, kind of, it's 9 feet by 11 feet, so you can only fit so many people on that. So if that needs to stay at 3, that's fine. The thought is, inside, be a little bit of a bigger stage, and maybe it's a 2-person, maybe it's a 3-person, maybe it's a 4-person. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember the last time you were here, there was a neighbor that did come and complain about the level of the music. Has that been under control
Yeah.
in this time frame?
Yeah, and I've been
I remember recommending to get a decibel meter to
Yeah, I
make
think
sure
you
it's
got
under
one,
60.
yeah.
and I've been back here since that other time too, and we haven't had any complaints, so far. So,
Do you actually, oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do you have?
I'm
any more
sorry.
questions? Go ahead.
Do you actually expect 600 people inside that?
no, that number is based off of what the building code has written down. So it's the way the building department likes it. It's broken into 2 different areas. We have an area A and an area B on our plan. So that's the total number of those 2 areas. But just from crowd control management, totally honestly, I think 596 people would be irresponsible to have in that space, obviously. So, if that, I'm just going off of what the code says.
Okay. No,
So I'm not sure if we talk to the fire department or the building department, and they want to lower that a little bit, that's fine with me.
And could I also ask, where is your 5-piece band going to be placed in relation to the closest opening to outside?
Yep. So our 5. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have the plan in front of you, but the band would be, kind of set back into the space, but it's well within the legal egress of the code. We also have if we're having a 5-piece band, it's going to be in the summer when people are here, and it's worth paying a 5-piece band to come here.
Yeah.
So when it is the summer, we have giant garage doors opened up to that space as well. So, I'm trying to think. It's about 60 feet away from the nearest fire egress, but that doesn't count the giant garage doors that would most likely be open.
Which open toward the front, but not the back where the tenants are, correct?
Well, the tenants would be, probably, again, if I'm kind of looking at the scale here, probably within about 40 feet
Okay.
of the exit.
And you're still going to use that decibel meter?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Are there speakers in front? If the band is playing inside, do you have speakers outside?
No, not for an inside band. The bands bring their own kind of PA system. So they would just kind of set up to whatever they have on stage. That wouldn't be amplified outside.
Mr. Murphy?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
First, a comment and then a couple questions, if that's
Sure.
okay. The comment is, I've never been to your place. However, while the Celtics were in the playoffs, I remember driving down Main Street, and you guys had a really nice crowd out there while the game was going on, and I remember everyone celebrating a victory down there, and it was really a cool vibe that you had going on down
Right
there.
on. Thanks.
So
I
I
appreciate
that.
Thanks.
Question is staffing. Do you anticipate any staffing changes? Because you're going from, as you described, a popcorn place that turned into kind of like a beer and have beer and popcorn to now, for my interpretation, basically a nightclub
Sure.
model. So
Yeah,
what
you can call
do
that.
you anticipate for changes for that?
Yeah. So we've yes and no. We have been operating this place for 2 years as well. Yeah. So it's not just a overnight kind of turn. So yeah, for staffing, it's all kind of based on obviously time of year, day of the week, and bands that we have coming, and as we get more data as years go on, we go, yeah, we overstaff that. We usually are on the side of overstaffing, and rarely are understaffed. We're again, we're not going to have 600 people in this place, but we'd be at around 4 to 5 bartenders. If we're talking like a busy Saturday, we'd be around like 4 to 5 bartenders. A couple people in the kitchen. We kind of just do chicken fingers, onion rings, fries, that type of thing. And then we have a lot of people walking the grounds. And the difference this year, because we're kind of going into, like you said, more of this like live entertainment venue type feel. Difference this year is we're going to hire specific security to work the door, and then obviously just to walk around and kind of be this like peace police of just more eyes that aren't servers or bartenders. They're specific to just security part of this.
Yeah, that was basically the root of my question. I can barely cook a grilled cheese, so I'm not going to try to suggest how many people you need to cook in your kitchen, staffing-wise. The number of people and the ability for you to hire quality security would be paramount, I think, for a public safety standpoint. You're talking, I know you'll say you won't never have 600 people there, but 4th of July weekend, Main Street, Hyannis, you're going to get a pretty significant crowd there.
It is not, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, these are
it's not lost on me on all of this. And the 600 people, that's inside. So yeah, we could have 600 people between outside and inside.
That was my point.
Yeah, outside is a very large space, and there's really no occupant load to that outside space because it's right on Main Street, so there's no egress problems of it. And the way that the code is written is, if that space was behind our building and people had to go through the building to get out, then there would be an occupant load for it. But because it's right, you don't have to go into our building to exit. There's no occupant load for it. So yeah, it's definitely going to be it's just hiring security, like dedicated security for that.
Forgive me if you've already answered these questions in your previous times here before the board, but I'm new. So, video surveillance equipment. What is your place set up for currently right now?
Yep.
For video, if you have it, and do you anticipate enhancing that or expanding that, given the expansion that you're doing as far as?
Yeah, great question. Super timely. So we have 8 cameras already set up between outside and inside. and we're actually going to install another 16 cameras this spring. So we'll be at a total of, 24 cameras, facing our back parking lot, facing kind of our side area, the entire courtyard, obviously all inside, but then even, on the sidewalk as well.
That's really good. I like that. Thank you. Noise concerns, just from my perspective. You can manage the band with the
Yep.
number of people in the band, the volume. You can't manage the voices of 500 people and the noise that comes with that. In the past, has that been a problem with the neighbor, or has it been the music?
It's always been the music, and specifically, it's been anytime we've had a three-piece band that comes with a drum kit outside. And like I said, because the complaint is always, she'd come over and just say, hey guys, it'd be right around that 9:45, 10 o'clock. We had to stop at 10 o'clock regardless, and we always stopped at 10 o'clock regardless. So it'd always kind of be that bass drum outside right around that 10 o'clock hour. So our hope, doing all these changes is to really help that. Don't have a drum kit outside and stop it at 9:30 outside, and kind of any type of band you bring inside, and just to kind of muffle and noise control it inside.
Thank you. Officer Kelsey? May I ask you a question, please?
Absolutely.
Are you okay with this expansion? Have you seen any problems in the past that you've had dealing with this particular establishment and the doubling of the capacity from a management point as far as the police department and public safety?
When it comes to staff comments, I have a number of questions myself. You've hit on a bunch of them that I was going to ask.
Yeah, I was going to go to you in a
But
moment.
I think I can address what you're getting at.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other questions from anyone on the authority?
No, I'll stay in my lane and pass it over to the next council.
I have
Ms.
one
Murphy.
more question.
Sure.
There was someone here, the neighbor that complained, testifying against you, but I'm wondering if you had any other complaints other than this one particular person.
Not that I know of. Any time she did complain, she kind of just walked over and said, "Hey guys, and we would kind of work it out there, and tell the band, hey, you got to keep it down, things like that." So not that I know of that we've had other complaints.
Mr. Decker?
So you spent 2 years as the Smith Family Beer Garden.
Yep.
Now you're going to put up Neptune?
That's the idea, yeah.
Okay.
So, Neptune has already been there. He's kind of been our, pseudo mascot. I just thought it was a cool statue that kind of fit Cape Cod, the god of the sea. And like I said, it's really just to get our name less, limiting for us. Because just too many people, I'm standing at the door most nights, and too many people walk by and are I can just overhear them saying, I don't feel like a beer. It's well, we have a full bar. And, I'll hear other people that say, well, I'm not going to go there. It's a beer garden. I'm not going to sit outside. And when it's 30 degrees outside, it's well, we have 3,000 square feet inside. So, still come out. So that's the idea for the name change.
So it will be Neptune in the continent of Atlantis, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
I have just an observation. I've heard a number of times 600 folks. It's not 600, it's 596.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm just curious, from the health department as well as even the DPW, they're always involved with the grease traps now.
Yep.
Does the 3,500-gallon grease trap support the number of folks that are going to be coming in, the 596 people?
Yep,
Is
so
it- I don't know the exact numbers to the formula, but that's all checked out.
Sure. Yeah. So the grease trap is all tied to your seats. Our seats aren't changing. So we have, our grease trap. We just installed a brand new 3,500-pound grease trap, which would allow us for 233 seats. We only have 185 because we only have the bathrooms to handle 185 seats. Our number of seats aren't changing, so that doesn't affect the grease trap at all.
Okay, members of the staff. Ms. Logan and
think just
Mr. Kelsey?
Just a really quick comment. There had been a complaint from one of the neighbors down the street in the retirement community the first year. Those issues were addressed, and I had not heard any more complaints from that particular individual. So this is separate from the direct abutter. I just wanted to make that clear that I have not received anything after that first year.
Thank you. Officer Kelsey,
Thank you.
from the police department's perspective.
Well, I want to first say that I have had a number of conversations with the operators of this property over the last several years, mostly with them reaching out, looking for guidance. They've been very easy to work with and cooperative and receptive to different ideas. And Mr. Murphy, I want to say thank you because you asked a lot of the questions that I was going to ask, and I'm going
why.
to and I'm going to expand on some of those because there is a but. And in the conversations that we've had recently, 596 people were never brought up, and I've got some curiosities and concerns over that. I get that if the code says that's the number you can have.
Yeah.
Security, obviously, first and foremost, is a concern that I would have. As Mr. Murphy brought up, your noise levels, even though you're bringing these people inside, you can't control what's outside. And the people just talking and hooping and hollering, and that, I think, is potentially going to be an issue for you.
Sure.
With the complaints that we've gotten from the neighbor who is closest to you, as well as the neighbors that are down the street that have made complaints. I have gone to the property over the last 2 years because of complaints and then just doing random compliance checks. I've been there when there's been absolutely no issue in response to a complaint. I've also been there where I've identified complaints myself. And when those times have happened, I've talked to the gentlemen, and they've been completely receptive to it. But that being said, there were some complaints identified. I think, and now what you're saying is 596 people inside, almost with unlimited outside. That is a big, big concern. Like at the end of the night, you have all these people pouring out into Main Street. What do you do with that crowd? Like I said, I think you're going to have a huge problem managing the noise. Do you plan on, with the indoor entertainment, the front of that building, or I should say the side of the building, is basically all garage doors. I mean, do you anticipate having those garage doors shut in the middle of July and August while you have indoor entertainment, or are they going to be open? Which is going to now funnel the music from inside going outside, even though you don't have entertainment outside.
Sure.
So those are basically the beginnings of the concerns I have. That 596, that number scares me.
Yeah,
For a bunch of reasons.
Yeah, and again, I'm going off of what the building code is,
Yeah.
and I'm totally open to lowering that number. I just don't know what to base it off of. So I figured it would be a conversation with you, with the fire department, the building department of, hey, what makes sense here? I don't know what parameter to actually use to do that.
Is there a recommendation from anyone from the authority relative to numbers? Mr. Murphy?
I just don't, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not being in the restaurant or entertainment business, I really don't have a good basis of knowledge or to give my opinion. I think that it's going to be up to you to decide what happens and learn and know what the crowd is.
Sure.
And when the complaints come in, why they came in, and address those immediately.
Yep.
I hate to say you have to go trial by error and learn from your, the complaints, but I don't think you can't throw out a number and say 400. Okay, we'll limit you to 400 people right now.
Right.
What's the noise level going to be at 400? What's the
Right.
problem going to be at 400? You don't know.
Yep.
You don't know till you know.
Right.
So I think it's going to be incumbent on you to manage the property in the way, according to Mr. Kelsey, Officer Kelsey, that you have in the past. but I can't give you a number, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I can't either, but I would suspect 400 people is going to create less noise than 596.
Of course.
I mean,
Yep,
that's
of course.
just, you know,
Yep.
logical. So
And-
the question
and-
to the authority is, do we want to recommend a particular number or to move this forward as is? Officer Kelsey, do you have any suggestions?
I guess I have more questions than suggestions, because I don't know if the code says that they can have this number by right, does that change anything? But I can tell you that 596 people inside a building that basically has one whole wall that's wide open to an outdoor space that has unlimited numbers.
Right.
If I'm a betting man, you're going to have problems over the summer.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, the code is the code. If it says 596, it says 596. That's what's allowed, and I agree that 596 people pouring out onto Main Street on a whatever night is going to be a zoo.
Of course.
What I would suggest, though, is that's the code for the occupancy load for the building. What the licensing authority has the ability to do for alcohol purposes and safety purposes, other than the occupancy load, is to make a determination on what's going to be in the best interest of public safety.
Well, any number that we come up with is going to be an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
I mean, whether we say it's 300, 325, 350, 400, it's pretty much what we think is probably in the best interest. And once again, it's really a guesstimate as opposed to to a factual, to a factual digit.
So can I-
May I ask a
more discussion
question?
here. Yes.
How many security people do you anticipate per 100 patrons?
Well, so, crowd control management, you need one crowd control manager per 100 people. So, again, if we're at that 600 number, you need 6 regardless. So, again, all of our staff are going to be certified in crowd control. So I still don't think that's enough of saying, oh, there's 600 people in here. I got 3 bartenders and 3 servers. That's enough to control 600 people. I don't think that works either. So I think my thought is that we would probably have a dedicated security per 100 persons.
Okay.
Anyone else on the commission?
I think you mentioned in your opening that you put the 596 because that's what code allowed, but you did state that you didn't expect that you were going to come anywhere near that at times. So, we may be playing with the number of 596, and I know we're looking for safety, but until you have an experience on what's going on, I mean, my personal opinion is you will never come to close to 596. But having said that, that doesn't mean that you might not get above 500.
Yeah, I mean, but
It's pretty crowded when you get 500 people in there.
and I understand the trial by error, but also for Officer Kelsey, I don't know that he wants us to do this trial by error of, hey, we have 600 people inside and another 400 people outside because that's what we're allowed to have, and then our error is a bunch of people spill out on a main street and someone gets hit by a car or something like that. It's I don't.
As chair of the licensing, I don't want, as acting chair of this one, I don't want to do a trial
course.
error.
Yeah.
I want to come up with a number. Either we go
Yeah.
with 596 or we go with something less and move this thing forward.
So just to give you some perspective, if you go to the left, there's another establishment that has an indoor-outdoor, and I believe that their occupancy is somewhere around 350, give or take. If you go far to the right, you go to the Resort and Conference Center, or the Irish Village now, and if you look at their ballroom with all 3 sections opened and the outer foyer, which they use for functions, the capacity for that building is 1,147.
Yeah.
So
That's apples and oranges.
it's apples and oranges, but I'm just trying to look at
So
you look at that ballroom and that foyer, and they can put that many people into that, and then you look at the space for this building, plus what they're going to potentially put outside, which is unlimited. I see public safety nightmares all summer. And this has nothing against these gentlemen,
No, they've
because
done a great job.
they actually have done a great job running their operation. I just am concerned.
I see Captain Lemon in the back. I'm just curious, from a fire safety perspective, is there a particular number. We're trying to come to terms on a number of folks that we can approve. Right now, it's legally set at 596, but we're really debating whether or not that makes sense with crowd control and other related issues. And so I'm just thinking from a fire safety, you're here, I want to take advantage of your knowledge and expertise.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Captain Tim Lemon, Hyannis Fire Department, Fire Prevention Division. We have a little bit of concern with the final number they've calculated. Our request would be that a calculation be done through a third-party design professional, architect, or engineer, in conjunction with working with the folks over at the building department. There is the square footage of the property, then there's also a net square footage, which takes into account the amount of space used by the stage, the pool tables, the dining tables. So if they were going to clear out the place completely, that would be one number, where if the tables and chairs and everything are going to be left in place, it would be a lower number. I hope that answers your question,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it's more, sure.
The 596 is based off of net. So that's taking out the bar, that's taking out our bathrooms, any office space, any kitchen space, anything like that. So, yeah. I mean, again, I am open to
Mr. Chairman?
to what makes sense.
Mr. Murphy.
By trial by error, I certainly don't want to be misconstrued as we just roll it out there and see what happens. The problem I see with trying to come up, and you've highlighted that, Mr. Chairman, is you don't know.
We don't.
You could have 50, you could set it at 50 and it'd be a problem depending on the 50 people that you bring there. You could set it at 400 and have no problems depending on the 400 people that show there and the management and how the business is run. That's the problem that we're going to run into as far as my comment on trial by error. It's going to be incumbent on the business to have security in place, to have a strong manager in place, to have doormen in place that spot a problem before it happens to escort that problem out. My concern is primarily through no fault of your own, is just the location. Location is in the middle of Main Street, and everyone's going to be getting out of school at the same time, so to speak. And where do they all go, you know? In the past, what parking primarily is the lot across the street, I would assume? Most are all along the street. You really don't have a parking lot.
Right, just like any business on Main
Yeah,
Street,
yes.
it's on-street parking or the satellite lots.
Has that been a problem in the past?
No.
Okay.
May I make a recommendation? The sprinkler system is not installed yet. It's in the
Correct.
process of, and part of the reason why we started the application is it had gone through site plan review and was approved. However, we all know that there is some waiting period once we submit this to the ABCC, which is why obviously we're moving along. Would it make everyone feel better if we just addressed every other item so we can get him moving on the DBA change, the change of hours, and the entertainment, and continue the discussion on the alteration to the next meeting? And if there's more information, more data we need, we can gather that in time. Other than, I'm hearing everyone's.
Well, I think we're all in agreement with everything on here except the number.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, we're basically tripling the number.
Yep.
We're going from 200 to 600. I mean, I would be comfortable by saying, 400, doubling the number, just to have a marker, if you will,
Sure.
a placeholder.
Yep.
And make it 400, and then, if things work out fine with 400, and you want to come back to us in April or May or June, we can adjust accordingly, knowing that
Cool.
from a licensing board perspective, we can go up to 596, but we're hesitant because of the unknowns. And I keep saying Officer Murphy, but it's Mr. Murphy now. I mean, he makes a good point. It really is. You could have 40 people making more noise than 400. But I
Yep.
think this is an arbitrary decision on my part, but I'd recommend that we double it to 400, and so we can move this along.
That's totally fine with me, too.
And also takes into concern the fire department in terms of numbers, too. And I agree that maybe a third party, we can
Yep,
discuss
it's
it after
already,
the fact.
it's already in the works.
It
but,
is, okay.
Just, again, in full transparency, I used to be an architect.
Okay.
I have a master's degree in architecture. I I know the code pretty well, so I have been working with our architect, and the gross square footage versus net square footage. Like, I'm very fluent with all of that, and it's what kind of the number seems to be, and it might go down here and there depending on. Before, the building department didn't want us to have the pool tables considered as part of, or they did want that part of net square footage, so we left it in. Like, maybe those come out this time. Like, so it's going to be kind of a marginal change of a few people here and there, but
We can debate what ifs till
Yeah,
the end
exactly.
of time. So to
Exactly.
move this along, I'm going to ask Authority Member Decker to make a motion. Before I do that, though, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wants to make any additional comments? Not seeing any, not hearing any.
I just make one
Yes.
request. Can we just put a date certain where they come back and we can have this conversation and update, whether it's the July meeting or the August? I would feel more comfortable if we just had a regroup
Sure.
in a couple months.
Isn't that
you know,
subject to the
midsummer.
installation?
So nothing will be issued until the sprinkler system is up and running, and I have,
Yep.
verification of that. So this approval essentially will go to
So why
the
don't we just?
to the
Why
state.
don't we agree that we'll make it 400 and you'll
Cool.
be back here by July to fill us in on the difference?
Yeah, sounds
Is that
good.
fair enough?
Sounds fair enough to me. I want Neptunes to be a success, by the way. I like the
totally.
name.
No, I appreciate it,
I like the name. I think it's very important.
Oh, thanks.
To have a strong businesses on Main Street. And I know the board is equally.
Totally.
The same
No,
thing.
I mean, you run a good shop. I mean,
Thanks.
I always welcome you when you come here because you're always prepared. You have your numbers, you have your facts and figures down, which is easy to deal with. You make
I
our
appreciate it.
lives.
Yep, no, it means a
comfortable.
lot.
So,
I appreciate it.
I don't want to give it away in terms of the percent, but just so that we agree. It's an arbitrary number, I'll agree. We're going to say 400. We're going to say be back here in July. If we want to make changes, we can always go up.
Cool, sounds
We
good.
can always go up, it's hard to go down.
Yeah, got it. Yep.
Mr. Decker.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application submitted by Smith Family Beer Garden LLC, 541 Main Street, Hyannis, for an alteration of the licensed premises, change of DBA, change of hours, and amendment to live and non-live entertainment licenses as submitted, subject to the interior capacity to be changed from 201 to 400. I propose to accept it.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is a vote. Good luck, and we'll see you in July.
Awesome, appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
patience, Mr. Smith.
You took what I was going to say.
Our officer Kelsey will count the people on a busy night.
That is true. Might have been trained by
So
somebody over there.
Officer Kelsey, you'll have to be counting people from 201 to 400.
I would expect you to
See
go
what
over there on
happens.
a busy night and count the number of
Have
people.
your clicker, get your counter going. Okay, let's move on to item number 6. This is a transfer of a seasonal all-alcohol common victualler license, including change of license type. It's a new daily non-live entertainment license. This application has been filed by Eat Your Heart Out Catering Company, doing business as Blue Water Grill, located at 213 Ocean Street, Hyannis, to transfer the seasonal all-alcohol common victualler license while also amending the license type from restaurant to inn holder, from Harborview Hotel Investors doing business as Blue Water Grill to Eat Your Heart Out Catering Company doing business as Blue Water Grill. Proposed indoor and outdoor seating for 174 people. Proposed alcohol manager is Sean P. Daly. And the hours of operation are seasonal, and they will run daily from 11:30 till 10 p.m. The applicant has also applied for a live and non-live entertainment license. Live entertainment will include 3 live amplified performers daily from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., non-live entertainment for 3 TVs, and recorded music below conversation level during normal operating hours. Sir, if you'd introduce yourself and Tell us a little bit more about this.
Morning, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for
members-
waiting.
Oh, by all means. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the
It's an
commission.
entertaining meeting.
My name is James Morris. I'm an attorney here on the Cape. My office is in Falmouth. It's my pleasure to be here representing Mr. Sean Daly, the proposed manager. He is also the owner of Eat Your Heart Out Catering Company. You can see from the submission, Mr. Daly's been involved in the catering and restaurant business for over 3 decades. His principal business is Eat Your Heart Out Catering Corporation, which is providing foodstuffs to various weddings and private venues. For the purpose of the board's edification, this license is currently held by the Harborview Hotel Investors Group. He, however, was essentially the restaurant manager of this location last summer, so he's very much aware of the intricacies of the particular location. He's been actively involved in the day-to-day management of this business now during the course of last summer. We're seeking a transfer of the existing license. It's part of the Hyannis Harbor Hotel, 213 Ocean Street. It's doing business as Blue Water Grill. It will continue to be doing operation as Blue Water Grill. There is no proposed expansion in the seating or service area. There is I would suggest, no proposed expansion in the current entertainment licenses that's been issued. It is simply a transfer of the license from the hotel group over to Eat Your Heart Out Catering and Mr. Daly. I believe I've submitted everything necessary to facilitate the transfer, and I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns that the authority has.
Okay, members of the authority? Mr. Decker?
You just said that this is just a transfer of the existing license. But the existing license is for restaurant.
It's my understanding it's a seasonal all-alcoholic license. I believe it was issued as a common victualler. We're essentially seeking transfer of the existing license from one entity to the other.
But you're changing the category to inholder.
I believe in the application it was listed as common victualler. I'll defer to...
Well, it tells us here, and the license is being amended to the type of license from a restaurant to an inn holder, and that's the crux of the question.
That's the question.
It's an existing hotel license, I believe, actually. The purpose, again, is to provide food and beverages to hotel patrons as well as their guests who are coming. We're not asking for any change of that particular, as what they want to do. We're not asking for any amendment to that. So I don't know if this was a Scrivener's error on my part or an input error, but we're not looking for any substantial change as to who we're serving alcohol to or the location that alcohol can be served or the type or hours.
And that's where the confusion sort of comes in, because you're sort of separate from the hotel, but you're part of the hotel, because people can, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, that they can take the drinks and go to their rooms.
Under a hotel license, Mr. Decker, yes, that is correct. I don't know what the position of the licensing authority, the ABCC, would be, given that the premises is demised pursuant to a commercial lease. I don't know if that would then be considered, even though it's on hotel property, if it's considered if it's a separate entity or not. I think that might be the reason why inholder was then checked off.
Staff comments?
When it was owned by the
So I am seeing on the town application that it does say common victualler, not an inn holder. But I just want to really quickly check the ABCC application, because I remember it standing out to me. It doesn't mean that I wasn't incorrect. But let me just take a quick peek. I'm almost there.
While Ms. Logan is looking for that, are there any other questions from anyone on the authority? Okay.
Okay. So that error was probably mine in interpreting. So you do have on-premise Section 12 hotel. So what I might have you do is just amend the ABCC application to get rid of the word hotel and replace it with restaurant. And then we would just approve it as a common victualler, not the inn holder.
So it's just amending the license type to, well, we're not amending.
We're not amending it, we're just leaving it as a common victualler.
Right.
So we eliminate that last part of the,
If I may
well, that section of the
approach.
motion.
Please. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, the license type, I just need to have it read restaurant.
It just says, in the motion, it says to transfer the seasonal all alcohol common victor license and a new live and non-live entertainment. Just take out the amended. It says amend it to,
Amend the license type from restaurant to inn over.
Just leave it out.
Just leave that
Correct.
out. Take that out.
Correct, yep, we're good.
Okay,
Excellent,
You're
thank
good.
you.
Yep.
that works. Okay, Mr. Decker,
Thanks for
entertain
your
a motion.
patience.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application submitted by Eat Your Heart Out Catering Company, DBA Blue Water Grill, 213 Ocean Street, Hyannis, to transfer the seasonal all-alcohol common victor license and a new live and non-live entertainment license as submitted.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is a public hearing. Does anyone have any comments they might want to make? Captain Lehman.
Morning again, Mr. Chairman, Captain Tim Lamb, Hyannis Fire Department. Just reviewing this, we just want to confirm that the interior area is going to be, they've got it listed as an occupancy of 98, that is going to stay at 98 or not more than 99, total including staff, given the live entertainment component of this, going by the fact that the entertainment area itself is within the scope of the enclosed area, the tent area. This aspect of the hotel is not sprinklered. So again, given building code and fire code requirements, we just want to make sure that those are followed regarding this. If the entertainment, for example, is going to be outside the tent area on a deck or patio, then that would put this somewhat moot as far as the sprinkler requirement, but otherwise within the confines of the tent area itself is our concern for occupancy level.
So are we suggesting that the number that I see, the 174, becomes 98?
No,
It's
given
indoor and outdoor.
one of the attachments I have from the platform, they show that the tent occupancy by tables and chairs and along the bar is at 98.
98, okay.
Which would be allow for 2 staff as well to work in there. And the exterior seating is looking like it's marked at 76 to bring it up to the total of 174.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
that makes sense. Okay, not hearing any other public comments. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other final discussion? Not hearing any, we'll entertain a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the commission. Officer Kelsey, pleasure as always to see you again.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving along, we have some temporary and permanent closures. The first is the Route 132 Motors located at 609 I&O Road in Hyannis. It's a Class 2 auto dealer, and this is a permanent closure. In addition, this is Regal Cinemas at 793 I&O Road, Hyannis. It's an annual all-alcohol common victualler and cinema license, and this also is a permanent closure. So could I have a motion for that, please?
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the temporary and permanent closures, I move to accept as printed.
I
Okay.
second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have a consent agenda with a number of issues. I'm sure everyone has reviewed them. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I see that item number 1 has been subject to the Board of Health.
Yes.
Other,
I do have a couple of comments on number 4, if we can take that out of the consent agenda.
So we will be looking at item, we'll also be removing item number 1 because final approval is subject to the Health Board. So we're looking at items number 2, which is renewal of the special one-day beer and wine and entertainment license for the Barnstable Comedy Club and renewal of the one-day beer and wine and entertainment license filed by the West End. That's what we're voting on right now.
so, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion with regard to the consent agenda that we approved items 2 and 3 at this time as printed.
I second.
please. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. We can go back to item number 1 and then item number 4. Item number 1, we're just waiting for Board of Health approval. Is that correct, Erin? So when that comes, then it'll come back to us.
No, if you can approve it subject to Board of Health approval, I will hold the license until the health department realizes that they're good to go. What it might do for them is the inability to serve food. So they can actually still proceed with the event if the Board of Health doesn't approve. They just can't have the food service. So I just want to hold on to that until we get that final word.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the consent agenda, I do propose that we do accept item number 1, subject to the final Board of Health approval.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Not hearing any, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that is a vote. Let's go right then on to item number 3.
No, 4.
No, excuse me, item number 4, which is the application that's been filed by Rockwell Amusement and Promotions, Inc., to hold the Cape Cod Mall Spring Carnival at 180 Falmouth Road, Hyannis, as follows. There are a number of dates and times. I'm not going to read them all, but I know that Officer Kelsey, you have a question or concern.
Not so much concerns, just historically, we've always required this group to have 2 police details during all hours of operation, and we have also required that they give us a complete list of employees, and I would like to have that list of employees submitted to the licensing director so that she can forward them to me no later than April 14th. I will say, just for informational purposes, last year, when they submitted their first list, they gave me a list of over 100 employees, and we did call them back and explain to them that now we want a real list of employees so that we can actually do a proper check on them. And I did even go as far as saying if they want to stay with that 100 people list, we're going to charge them for the time. They did come back with a much smaller list. And
These are all carnival workers.
correct. And then when I went out to do a compliance check, we had at least 7 or 8 people that were not on the list that were submitted to us. So I want to have the ability to have some time to look into this, create my own database so that when we do check on them this year, we can have a real conversation about what they gave us and who was actually there.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just a comment on, Mr. Chairman, on Officer Kelsey's remarks. I would strongly encourage you to, during your compliance checks, if you run into the same problem as you did last year, to report back to the board on that, and maybe that might be taken into consideration in 2026 when they come back, to just have 7 or 8 random people show up working there after you spend time and money to do a background check on each individual. I don't think that's very proper, so.
Yes, sir, and I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, so we can vote on the renewal of the special one-day entertainment license with the appropriate amended suggestions. So, Mr. Decker, could you give us a motion?
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the special one-day entertainment license, the application is submitted by Rockwell Amusements and Promotions, Inc., to hold a Cape Cod Mall Spring Carnival, 180 Falmouth Road, Hyannis. We're asking that the organizations provide 2 officers as part of this application, and a list of employees be submitted to Officer Kelsey by April 14th, 2025. Motion to approve.
Okay, and I'm just going to include, I'm going to quickly read the dates just so that there's clarity that it includes May 1st, 2025 from 5 to 9, May 3rd, from 1 to 9, May 5, 5 to 9, May 7, 5 to 9, May 9th, 5 to 9, May 11th, from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., May 2nd, 5 to 9, May 4th, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., May 6th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., May 8th, 5 to 9, and May 10th, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So with that added to the motion, I'll take a second.
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Not hearing any, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Seasonal renewals, that was all part of,
The consent agenda.
Of the consent agenda, we don't have to read those, so we'll move right to, I can just quickly, the seasonal renewals that we approved, the Baxter's Boathouse, the Blue Water Grill, the Cape Cod Melody Tent, the Chat Room at Crosby's, the Katuitt High Ground Golf Club, Spanky's Clam Shack, the Beach Club, and Trader Ed's. And we'll go right into licensing authority and division update. Erin?
Okay. So contrary to my email to everyone, we are going to keep the April meeting on the 23rd, which is school vacation week. I will note that for next year. The holiday jumped ahead this year, so it fell on a different week last year. But just a reminder, April 30th, the following week, will be the ABCC annual compliance meeting, our annual compliance meeting as well. So the morning will start, the Margaritaville is hosting us. We will start in the morning with the state, so the ABCC will come as well as their legal team. And we are inviting, as per the last few years, all of Cape and Islands, select board members, licensing staff, police, fire staff. I have invited our building commissioner and all of the local fire prevention officers. And then in the afternoon, Officer Kelsey, myself, and Jamie Binyenda of the ABCC will host the annual compliance meeting for our alcohol license holders. So pretty much an all-day event at Margaritaville.
That's the April 30th.
On the 30th.
What's the hours again?
So the morning session will start at 10. It'll run about 2 hours. So about 10 to noon. And then the afternoon session is beginning at 1. And we also anticipate about a 2-hour meeting.
Okay.
For the afternoon session, have you come with a topic yet? Have you decided is there going to be a focus for the?
We had talked about DUIs. So I think we're still in the process of working on that. I would love any ideas. The presentation is pretty boring. I think just it is. And, to bring people in every year, I would like to have something different that draws their attention in, that maybe makes it a little more palatable, right? So I'm open to suggestions, but I think that's...
No, the meetings are always good, having attended
Kind
them.
of where
They're
we-
very informative, but you're right, after a
It's
couple
the
hours.
same, if you've been here for 20 years, you've been to the same meeting every year. It's not super exciting, but,
Okay, thank you.
and I'm trying to think,
Okay,
nothing else stands out as being noteworthy at this time.
Okay. Officer Kelsey, any police department updates?
Before we get to that, just to piggyback on what Aaron said, with the OUI information, there had been some information that came to the office with numbers for the town of Barnstable, which just didn't seem quite right to me. So I have actually been working with our records department, and we are going to try to put together some tangible information that we can use to help educate the licensed establishments in our town, as well as the licensing authority, about specifically what's happening in our community. And then also we want to have a little bit of an educational session with them about, well, hey, you know what? If you are named as the last place that somebody drank, this is what happens. And you should actually be aware of that, because it does go into a number of different databases. So there's going to be something, hopefully there's going to be something that's going to be educational out of that section. And Aaron always does an incredible job with trying to make the PowerPoints a little more fun so that people aren't falling asleep. As far as the police department goes, I will start off with a conversation that had started last month and the month before in regard to fake IDs. So I have done a little bit of research on that. I've talked to the ABCC, I've talked with our chief of police, and we've sort of batted some things around. One of the things that was brought to my attention that I was not aware of, that I got from the state, and I'm doing some research on this now because I just got this the other day. There supposedly is a mechanism that local officers can use with the Registry of Motor Vehicles. So if I were to grab a fake ID from Jimmy Jones, who is from Swansea, and he's here on the Cape, and he's got a Rhode Island ID. Now, I identify Jimmy Jones as Jimmy Jones, who's from Swansea, not Peter Jones, who's from Rhode Island. I seize that Rhode Island ID. I identify Jimmy Jones from his Massachusetts ID. I fill out an affidavit, send it to the registry, and they can suspend his Massachusetts license for a period of time. That gives some teeth. That gives some sort of a punishment for the person who is presenting that fake ID. What it also does is how do I say this politically correctly? We don't bring prosecutions to court that aren't going to be prosecuted. Because I think you get that 19-year-old kid, never been in trouble before, we snag him with the fake ID, we arrest him, which we absolutely have the right to do. And in some cases, I'm not saying that we're not going to do that, but I think a lot of those, once they get to court, are not going to go anywhere. This is something that the registry, they can just say, all right, here's the affidavit, here's the information, and they hit a button. And that person just lost their license for 30 days, or for 60 days, or for 90 days.
So who follows up on that?
It's a tool that we could educate our officers on using. Obviously, it's a tool that I would be able to use if I were out there. And again, I just received this information a couple of days ago. I mean, in the 30-plus years of being a police officer, I wasn't aware of it. So I am going to be following up with the registry to get more information on that, to make sure the information I received is correct, and then to determine how to use that most
So
efficiently.
we need a liaison at the registry to make sure that if in fact someone does this, that it's actually, it goes into effect, I would assume.
I think that we have someone at the registry who we can talk with and will walk us through this process.
Yeah, I think it raises a question that Mr. Murphy raised at the last meeting, i.e. in terms of, what happens. I mean, we know what happens to the owner of the establishment or the owner of the business. What happens to the person that actually is falsifying a record, and perhaps this
Yeah, I
speaks to that.
think that's a great follow-up by Officer Kelsey to something that we expressed, and they obviously took the ball and moved it ahead a few yards. My age is going to come to light in this comment, but I remember when the registry had their own police officers out there.
Right.
And everybody feared the registry police officers. The registry sends a strong message to young people and their ability to drive. So if this program starts to come to fruition, I would encourage Officer Kelsey, which I'm sure the police department is very proactive on social media. I would maybe educate the public, especially our younger people who tend to gravitate towards social media. The consequences are possibly this. And I thoroughly agree with your assessment that the proper follow-up was at the Registry of Motor Vehicles and not the courts. The courts sometimes are congested enough, and the outcome is depending on what happens and what's going on in the day. To congest the court calendar with 20 fake IDs wouldn't be a proper use of resources. At the Registry of Motor Vehicles deals specifically with that type of issue, and it's a pretty high price to pay.
Yeah, it sounds like a great tool, in the toolbox to use, to keep young kids from anyone, for that matter.
So my hope is that by the April meeting, I will have some more definitive information for you, and I can share that at that time.
Thank you for following up on that. Any other issues, questions, concerns from anyone?
I do.
Erin?
I wanted to mention, Officer Kelsey and I are heading into Osterville on Friday. We had been alerted, and we have this discussion too. We had been alerted by residents that they were having sip and shops in Osterville without being properly licensed. So Officer Kelsey went down and stopped at a few of the establishments that had been advertising, and you can speak to the response, but essentially I wasn't comfortable with that with the response. I don't think Officer Kelsey was either. So we are literally putting boots on the ground on Friday and walking the village of Osterville.
Is it a series of stores, or is it just
You know, we don't really know exactly who it is, but there's another advertisement for
There is.
another event coming up before your next meeting. where they are proposing to serve alcohol, and they need to go through the proper process. So I guess I'm asking you, as much as you can in your communities, let your folks know, special events. When in doubt, come to me.
Right.
The only instance where you truly don't need a license is if you're using a 12C caterer. And those should be used for private events only. Those are not public. A 12C caterer cannot provide alcohol to a public event. So that kind of keeps it safe. If you're not using a 12C caterer, call licensing, call Officer Kelsey. We will get you to the right place. But we will be looping in the counselor in that area and just letting him know so he can let his constituents know that we are coming by. But I imagine, this could be happening in other villages and we're just not aware.
Okay.
So just keep a heads up and keep vigilant.
And keep us in the loop on that and what's going on.
Right.
Thank you.
And then we did have one more item that I had clocked on an amended agenda, so it is has been validly posted. I don't believe you have it on your updated copy, but we want to discuss alleged licensing violations at Tiki Port, and potentially a vote to determine next steps, whether that is an informal discussion, a formal discussion, or a show cause hearing. Officer Kelsey, did you want to run with that?
So I'm sure that you have seen some of the news coverage, and if not, I will explain that there was a very serious incident early Sunday morning in the parking lot behind the Tiki Port restaurant on Route 132 in Hyannis. From that situation was that two pedestrians were hit by a vehicle leaving the parking lot that night after an altercation which occurred on the Tiki Port property. This incident is being investigated by the Barnstable Police Department, both patrol and detectives unit, and I will be supporting that investigation as well. I put this on your radar because we may be coming to this authority looking for a conversation with the ownership or management company for Tiki Port, and it could go as high as looking for a show cause hearing on their license. Right now, the investigation is still ongoing. I think it would be inappropriate to share the products of the investigation at this point, but I wanted to let this authority know that this incident did happen, especially as it's been news in the public already, and wanted you to know that we are looking into it and that we anticipate this authority playing a role in this situation down the road.
If you can answer, was this an accident or was this an intentional?
That is still under investigation.
Okay.
One quick question, and this should not compromise any investigational integrity. However, I think it's important for the board to know. It occurred on Tiki Port property or in the area of Tiki Port property. Has Tiki Port or the representatives been cooperative with law enforcement?
I can't speak to the product of any interviews with them because I have not been part of that with the actual managers of Tiki Port yet. I know that the detectives have been out and running interviews, and I've been staying in touch with the detectives and then reviewing some of their work after. Obviously, I will be having a conversation with management directly at some point. This is going to be an investigation that sort of is running simultaneously, and if we determine that there are, there are criminal aspects of this because there has been an arrest due to certain behaviors from this. We obviously want to have the criminal investigation take lead on this, and then I will follow up with the investigation for licensing authority purposes. So that's a long answer to your question, and I guess the short answer is I've not heard that they've been cooperative or uncooperative.
Okay, and I'd just like a quick follow-up on that. Just in the sense, I think it's important for the board to be aware of the level of their cooperation at some point. If you deem them to be uncooperative during the course of this investigation, I think it's paramount that the board be notified when they become uncooperative, not a month down the road at the next hearing for a show cause hearing that could get scheduled for another month away. They issued a liquor license. If it's a public safety issue and there's no cooperation with law enforcement from them, I think the board needs to be made aware of it, and if other steps need to be taken, it'd be up to Mr. Chairman or to decide how we handle it from there. But I think he needs to be kept in the loop.
Absolutely, and I will commit to doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we to assume, is it assumed that the 3 individuals involved came from the Tiki Port?
I can say that if you've looked at some of the footage and that you have heard about there's 2 individuals who were struck and then the person who's operating the vehicle, it is my understanding at this time that all of them, as well as the people surrounding the incident, were patrons of the Tiki Port.
Thank you.
Well, the investigation will move forward. It sounds like it's more intentional than it was an accident, but who knows? And that's why we have a good police department to keep us in the loop and let us know what the outcome of that will be. Okay, any other issues? Any other comments from anyone? Not hearing any. Our next meeting is April 23rd, 10 a.m., same place, same location. And with that being said, I will entertain a...
Hold on.
The special one day from the beginning of the application.
Right, they never
So
showed
sorry,
up.
she did not show up. And her event,
You're talking about the pop-up street, Cape Cod?
Yes.
Yeah, we were going to hold it to the end, but no one showed, so...
so you can either look at it and approve it without her here, or continue it to the next meeting. I believe the event is before the next meeting, but that should not be part of your,
This is
whether or not you
item number 2
determined to
that we're
continue it.
referencing, is the application that was filed by Pop-Up Street, Cape Cod, 438 Main Street, Hyannis, to host a reggae rhythm pop-up, a celebration of Black and Caribbean creatives with an artist showcase. The entertainment will include non-amplified live performances as well as background music. Any comments from
Yeah, I know. I
police?
just looked at that. So that is the 4th of July, is where
When
they're
is this,
going to be
when is this
hosting
to
that.
occur?
That's a really great question, Larry. I'm looking that, I don't know how I missed that on the application, so I apologize.
And can I ask, is this
Absolutely.
is this a recurring event?
So no, for right now, it's just a one-time event, entertainment only, and no alcohol service. I know she is looking to have these events on a regular basis at some point, but right now, this is a first for her.
I would, to be quite frank, I'm always annoyed when people don't show up to tell us what it is that they're doing. I think it's incumbent upon whomever it is to have the courtesy to come before the licensing authority and explain to us what it is, because this is, a pop-up street, Cape Cod could turn into an absolute disaster.
Sure.
We don't know who's coming from where, what's going to be ongoing. I'm not comfortable personally approving this.
I concur with Mr. Chairman on that one. The entertainment will include non-amplified live performances as well as background music. Very vague, very wide open, and very broad. And I think it's incumbent for the person that wants this license to come before the board and explain what that means and what it entails.
Fair enough.
Well, you must have a copy of the application,
I'm looking at it.
because you indicated here the application is complete and ready for your consideration. So I think all we need is the date.
This is the date. I can't believe I'm not seeing a date on here. So I'm with you. If we could make a motion to continue till the April meeting, and I will get additional information from her. And if the event is to take place before then, she will not be able to have the entertainment. Simple as that.
So, Mr. Decker, would you make that motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the application for Pop-Up Street Cape Cod, 438 Main Street, Hyannis, to host Reggae Rhythms Pop-Up, a celebration of Black and Caribbean creatives with an artistic showcase, I move to move this item to the April meeting for consideration.
I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Not hearing and seeing any. We'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. And which brings us to any matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. I don't believe there are any. And so we can go to adjournment, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn the licensing authority meeting to next month, April 23rd, 2025.
And I second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Not hearing or seeing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a vote. Thank you.